Now, you literally collect continents like Pokemon with your travels. So, Ghana, you've been to Italy, Singapore, Abu Dhabi, Peru, a ton of places. What would you say this whirlwind of global education has taught you, that the classroom we were talking about really could never?
Yeah, I really think that I believe this thesis of the world is the best teacher, and you can learn so much not only about the world, but also about yourself by stepping out of a classroom into some place that's new, uncomfortable, that's really going to shape you through very unique and quite challenging at times experiences. And I think that I have gained so much perspective, so much appreciation for different ways of life, so much of a kind of deconstruction of what I used to consider normal. And also just understanding that normal is completely subjective and the way that other people live their lives in other corners of the world is not necessarily wrong. It's just different. There's kind of no judgment call. It's more just like we are accepting that we're different and we're learning from each other. I think for me, I always joke now that I didn't go to grad school, but I have graduated from the school of life. And I really think that all of the trips and experiences and kind of random situations that I've had to deal with, whether they were things I planned to make myself step out of my comfort zone or just things that went awry and I had to figure it out on the fly and just all of this combined has taught me to be so confident, so resilient, so adaptable, very observant. There's just these skills that can't be taught in a textbook or in a classroom environment, but they need to be lived and experienced.
Oh, you're certainly right. I mean, when you really think about it, you're doing world schooling in the sense that, the things you do learn about in history books, you only learn about a handful of the things that you've seen in a history book. You've gone there and immersed yourself in it and experienced the actual sites and the actual people and in the actual food. Like, what a better way to learn and to also remember these things and then them have an impact. And I'm sure from being immersed in all these different cultures, I'm sure you've come back to your home and taken bits and pieces from those. This is the way I wanna do this now, and I can't believe they do that. That's such a good idea, and, things that you would never learn at home. Now, you interned 12 times in college to fund your travels. Were you sleeping at all, girl?
I get this question a lot. Honestly, I used to brag about the fact that, oh, I can function great on 6 hours of sleep. And I do think I have to say the average person could probably not do all the things I did in college between interning, taking all these classes at NYU. I still graduated top of my class, did not let the grades slip, but still was also squeezing in multiple study abroad experiences and just kind of never saying no to anything that I felt would enrich my life. That was just the grind mode that I was on, like not grinding to work, but grinding to play, I think is a spin on how most people think of the word like grinding and working really hard. I was working really hard for the purpose of being able to take the leisure experience of travel. And I think the way in which I really did that also just came through a lot of sacrifice and a lot of juggling things at once. Like I remember when I studied abroad for the first time, I was in Florence, Italy, was trying to make the most of every weekend, go to like a different European country every single week. And I would be at the airport on an overnight bus waiting for a car, like just any time I had downtime, I would be studying or doing my homework or like making the most of the time and not just like sitting back and watching Netflix or like sleeping on my flights. It was definitely a maximization mode, but I feel like it paid such dividends to be able to have all those experiences, especially my real core belief is that the earlier in your life you get to have these travel experiences, the more you stand to benefit from it. Kind of the same way we front load our lives with education when we're young because we want to learn those things up front and then be able to apply those learnings. It kind of makes no sense to me, this typical like traditional path of work a lot and then travel when you retire because you're not really going to have the opportunity to apply those learnings in your life. So do it as soon as possible.